The first one is the Grillo Costadune. Grillo is a great example of a Sicilian native grape. And it's important to understand that when you use native grapes, everything gets easier as a producer, because the grape is there for thousands of years, and there must be a reason why. And so the Grillo is called the Chardonnay of Sicily, just to give people just a description that may be familiar with a grape that everybody knows. And it's got really, a beautiful texture, a beautiful aromatic, complexity. And freshness. It's there isn't any oak treatment, either barrels or sometimes for commercial wine, use what they call alternative oaks with like staves or chips. So this is just very pure and very, very much the expression of the Grillo grown in some of the best spots in Mandrarossa area. In general, obviously, fermentation, everything is done in order to preserve the freshness and the integrity of the wine. It's a wine that is designed to be enjoyed within the 3-4 years after the release. I like also to taste Grillo when they are older, but obviously that's because I like very much to experience how the wine evolves, and I don't want to just enjoy the freshness. But obviously most people buy the wine at this price point, they are expecting freshness and they can find it, This is a 2018, so it's keeping pretty well. We also changed, I remember when I arrived, we were bottling because, it's a large volume, so we were bottling too many times, which didn't help, the integrity of the wine to be kept for within the months after the release, because obviously every time you bottle you had to rack the remaining part. So I pushed very hard to convince the property to bottle just twice. We bottle one early in the season, like January, February, and then the second time before the summer begins, and that helps a lot to keep much better the integrity and the freshness of the wine. The second one is the Zibibbo Costadune, which is, the Zibibbo is another classic Sicilian grape, which is also used for making dessert wines. And in this case, it's a dry wine, which is also very nice and very interesting to enjoy with food. Compared to the Grillo, obviously, is very aromatic. It's a bit more aromatic. And quite rich in the mouth, so it's got a nice texture, it's a bit more textural than the first one. They're both 18. And number 3 is Bertolino Soprano, which is a selection of one of the best limestone microterroir that we have experienced after studying the soil and after doing the microterroir work with Pedro Parra that I was mentioning before. This is a 2017. It's a Grillo 100%, and it's I like it a lot because it has been aged for 1 year in large untoasted cask of 5,000 liters, which is the equivalent of 22 small barrels in terms of size. I like large cask a lot because they preserve the integrity and the character of the wine much better than the small barrels. So basically, what I'm interested in is just to find for the wine a proper environment to age, and to understand also what the wine requires for aging well. And what requires is basically some gentle and soft micro-oxygenation, which the large cask is providing very well to the wine, as opposed to the small barrels, which, because of the size and because of the thickness of the staves, the micro-ox provided to the wine is very intense. And when you have an intense micro-ox, like the small barrels provide the wine with, you get a bit more richness, but you lose energy. And to me, energy is a very, very important descriptor. So to me, a great wine has to be a wine plenty of energy. And the cask is a better environment for me in general for most of the wines because of the size. Obviously, there is less contact between the inside and the outside, so there is less micro-oxygenation. But also, if you look at the staves, the barrels, small barrel staves, they are anything between 22 and 27 millimeters of thickness, as opposed to the cask, which are anything between 50 and 60, even sometimes 70 or more millimeters of thickness. So being larger and being thicker, obviously the level of micro-ox is much, much less. And that allows you to preserve what I call the integrity of the wine, which I like a lot. Small barrels, again, are more for people who are looking for concentration, power, viscosity, blah, 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 blah. To me, which are descriptors that have been very popular in the past couple of decades for some reason, and still are for many people, not for me. To me, concentration is a very simple concept. To me, concentration is very easy to achieve. What is more difficult to achieve is the texture. So texture is very different from concentration, because texture is a structure which is very alive in your mouth. It's moving around, it's going up and down, and it's creating energy. That's the texture. I love texture of wine, not concentrated wines. Concentrated wines to me are very simple. So to achieve the concentration, just you pick late, do the bleeding, remove some juice before the fermentation starts, do a lado, and you get a concentrated wine, which is that important. The best wines in the world are not really very concentrated, in my opinion. Think of a Barolo, the Burgundian wine. Are they concentrated? No, they're very textural. It's different, completely different. And concentration is more the idea that the more is the better, but it's a very cheap concept. I mean, just the more is easy, put more, but it's not really so. So the concentration is not elegance, it's the opposite of elegance. So I like, because we have achieved here a very good textural wine. It's very, and it's, it's 2 years old, but it's still, actually still very young. I think it's going to evolve very well in the years to come. Obviously, even there is a little bit of oak, because this was the first year, and when you buy the cask, you buy the new, even if they are untoasted and they are large, but you can't avoid having. And obviously, I'm also sometimes, obviously we hydrate, we hydrate, how do you say when you put water into a cask?
Hydrate, yeah.
To hydrate, and in order to remove all the initial release of tannins, which are quite aggressive, but still, the first pass, the first time you use it, a little bit is there. But the large casks then are supposed to be used forever, 30, 40 years, because we are not asking them to release flavors and aromas. We don't need them, we don't want them, stay away from that. It just is not what we are looking for. And obviously this is also to prove that the Grillo is a grape that can be made in a more fruity, fresh style as the first one, but it's also wine that, if it's coming from the proper micro terroir, and if it's made as it should be made in order to keep the integrity, can last and can evolve very well. So it's not just a fresh, fruity, young wine, but can also be a more important wine.